Hey everyone! Welcome to the Emotive Mind podcast, where I, your host, Autumn, talk all things mental health, relationships, manifesting and spirituality, self-love, and owning a small business, Kello Collective. On this podcast, I will offer advice and motivation to you on navigating the ups and downs of life, anxiety, personal growth, and finding your true self through sharing my own journey with you. If you're anything like me and have experienced intense anxiety and mental health issues, or maybe feel stuck at where you're at in life, then I'm so glad that you found me here on the Emotive Mind podcast, where together we can transform our lives and create a motive mind. Make sure to connect with me by liking, following, subscribing, and sharing the Emotive Mind podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify at Emotive Mind Podcast. There, you can find the video recordings of each episode, the posting schedule, which new episodes come out every Tuesday, or share your thoughts and comments on your personal journey, the podcast, or whatever you would like to hear me talk about next. I would also be extremely grateful for you to check out and support this podcast through my small business, Kello Collective, hand-poured coconut soy candles and products, which you can find on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok at Kello Collective, and shop on kellocollective.com. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your continued love and support on this podcast and my business. Be sure to check out any previous episodes that you may have missed, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. On the last episode, we talked about how I started my business, more tips and insight I learned in therapy, and signs that I received through angel numbers. On this episode, we're going to be talking about more of my anxiety healing in 2022, growing and developing your mind and habits, breaking the chains to your past, and more tips on finding your true self. During 2022, when I was in the process of starting my business, I was doing a lot of inner shadow work on my anxiety, self-love, and finding myself. Working on my business gave me a new outlook in life, but also in how I viewed myself. I started to praise myself more, reflect, and find gratitude on how far I'd come in my anxiety, and speak to myself with more kindness and patience when things got tougher. I also had to get real with myself and those around me and pay attention to the type of people that I have in my life and if their actions had deeper questionable intentions, along with if their words were matching up to the true reality of where I stood in their life. My family and therapy helped me gain a lot more knowledge on types of manipulation and controlling tactics used by those around me, and how by me giving the other person a reaction, I am handing them the power over my emotions. It took months to finally understand that message and work to apply it in my daily life. In moments that really tried my patience and tested me to see if I was really practicing what I had learned, I had to literally coach myself and say, Autumn, is this worth it giving them a reaction? Are you really wanting to hand them the power and control? Are you putting more emotion and care into this person and situation in this current moment than they are? And is this going to cause me anxiety or distress emotionally now or for the rest of the day by me worrying and reacting? There were times where I would have to walk away from the situation, and I tried coaching myself into not reacting, but I end up walking back in the other room and reacting. Then, how did I feel after that? Horrible. I took note of my emotions, how I felt, what thoughts went through my head afterwards, and how long that I let that disagreement stay in my mind. And lastly, if the effects of my reaction caused me to stop being productive for the rest of the day because I was too upset. I went through the ups and downs for months trying to get my bearings and strength and courage to cut out the reaction that I would give people. I think a lot of the reaction stems from hurt and disappointment that you wouldn't treat someone else the way that you were being treated in that moment, especially if you love someone. So you react in a way that you think it'll show the other person that you care, but you're so frustrated at the same time and exhausted from the tactics that this person is using against you. I'm the type of person that when you don't get a reaction out of me, I either really don't care about this or I'm completely done with you and have nothing left to pour into you or us if it was a relationship. Like, I'm over you, I'm over this, I'm maxed out, and I just don't care. But one thing that I had to work on is realizing that not giving a reaction doesn't mean that you don't care about that person if you're not already done with them, or what they said is true and right. It just means that you're choosing not to give them the power and control over you or waste the time and energy on them or this silly disagreement. Like, sometimes it's just really not worth it either, just giving into that reaction or what you were going back and forth about. But someone very close to me taught me two things about situations like these. One, to look at words as water bouncing off your shoulder, like what this person is spewing off to you to make you upset, angry, or annoy you. Just imagine that it's like little drops of water on your shoulder, just bouncing off of you. And it just means that you're not taking to heart what they said or letting the water, aka their words, soak into your skin. It's bouncing off you because the words are just vibrations, it's just energy. Words cannot physically harm you, and it's the meanings that we attach to the words that affect our emotions and how we react. The second lesson that someone very special taught me is to skip the reaction and go to the solution. The back and forth or yelling and getting upset is only going to make the situation worse. Instead, try and communicate calmly and reach a solution. But you do have to have someone that is willing to communicate with you and talk it out. Because if they're not willing to play their part in it, then you're honestly going to just waste your time and energy, and it's probably just going to end up worse for you mentally. So skip the reaction and find the solution. But sometimes the solution in the situation is to not give in to any of the harm that the person is trying to cause you with words. Walk away and focus on yourself and what you have going for you. Like, sometimes the solution is just removing yourself out of the situation, and that's okay. Like, that also doesn't make you weak from needing to walk away from the situation, even if the other person tries to make you feel that way. That's not a weakness. It actually is really just taking your power back. But in conjunction with that, one thing that we focused on heavily in therapy, especially in situations like these, are to separate yourself from that moment or situation and go focus on something that brings you joy and happiness. For me, it was my candle business. So if I got upset or had anxiety over something not even related to anyone else, then I would go and start working on a new candle release or future ideas of where I see my company going. I would skip the energy being used on a negative source to being used to create a happier moment for myself that resulted in checking things off of my to-do list or just helping me realign myself with my goals. Aside from this, I started becoming more self-aware of how I'm presenting myself and treating others or owning up for my mistakes and behaviors. Taking responsibility for my actions was a key part in my healing and finding forgiveness in myself for past mistakes. Being chained to the past is only going to create more chaos and unhappiness in your current life. You need to sit with yourself and recognize that you may have messed up in the past or took actions that were outside of your character and who you are becoming. But the beautiful part is that you can forgive yourself and work on not repeating the same mistakes. You can't change what happened in the past, but you can change how you move forward. I used to sit there and beat myself up over the past and something that I had done that I regret. But I had to find it in myself to own up for the mistakes that I made and not make excuses to justify my behavior and actions. I used to try to justify them and be like, yeah, what I did wasn't right, but at least I didn't go this far and do that, or something ridiculous like that I would tell myself. But that's not okay. That's only putting you in a place to not take responsibility for your actions. Now, if something keeping you chained to the past is a relationship or how someone treated you in a situationship or a friendship, it's important to look at a few things like how you treated them, if you projected insecurities or traumas onto them, and also if they did the same to you. Take responsibility for how you treated them if it wasn't the best, But know that if they treated you badly or just not in line with your self-worth, then this can be a major reflection of who they are and the traumas that they need to heal from. I feel like people love how they receive love, and if they are stuck in a certain type of lifestyle, then you can't expect to come along and change that. You have to have someone who is willing to look at their flaws, communicate, and be able to work on their own self. But if they don't want to change how they live their life or treat others or provide you love, then that's not your fault. You can only control how you treat them and ensuring that you are not projecting onto another person how you feel on the inside. This ties in with the past because sometimes we can get so caught up on why a person treated you a certain way or why they couldn't love you the way that you wanted, or that their words said that they would love you, but their actions did not line up with that. I know personally, I have gone through this several times of just sitting there and kind of beating myself up and thinking to myself like, why did this person in this situationship or relationship treat me this way? Or why could they not love me properly? Like, I don't understand. Like, I tried to show them like the most love and care and like do the best for them. And I'm not perfect. So I've had my moments of messing up, in those relationships and situationships as well. But I really would beat myself up over this. And I really did have to see and realize that, hey, like, they have a different life. They grew up differently. They've had a lot of different life experiences that have shaped them into the person they are today. And it's not that they're a bad person, and it's not that it's a projection of, you and who you are. It just means that, hey, they just weren't capable of loving me in the way that I need. You love them. You can hold that love and care deep in your heart, but they just weren't the one. Like, it just wasn't meant to be, and they have their own stuff they have to work through. If you are going through this and really just reminiscing on the past and beating yourself up over things, I ask you to ask yourself, is this in my control? Can I change what they did to me or how they treated me? Or can I only control how I move forward and ensure that I don't allow myself to be treated like that again? And can I only ensure that I treat people the way that I want to be treated and treat them right? And it's also finding the faith to move forward and know that you can learn from the past mistakes or lessons that you needed to learn from, or old relationships and your own behaviors and actions that were not the best. You can learn from that. You can change how you move forward. You can change who you are. Like, you have the power in your hands to not stay the same. Okay, you do not need to conform to your environment and just say like, oh, well, this is just who I'm going to be the rest of my life. Like, no, like, if there's things that you need to work on, and we all have those things, then change them. Like, work on yourself and make yourself better. Like, there is nothing wrong with that. And life is just way too precious to let another person's actions or your old mistakes hinder your healing progress or present days. You need to declutter and cleanse your mind from negativity or thoughts that have caused you to beat yourself up. And speaking of cleaning, I'm going to take a second to light my Kello Collective Cotton Sheets candle, which you can shop on kellocollective.com. This candle is a clean blend of cotton blossom, sandalwood, violet, and a hint of lemon. It smells just like freshly washed cotton sheets. All right, so now that I have freshened up the air, let's go ahead and get into the second half of this episode. So in the midst of continuing therapy, starting my business, and having a few mental breakthroughs and revelations, I finally started finding more of my true self and growing my self-love. While I'm still in the process of finding my true self and living my best life, 2022 helped start this part of my journey and kind of open my eyes up to the possibilities of how I could change myself and my life. I spent a lot of time praying and connecting to God and asking Him to lead me to everything that I'm meant to do and create to live my happiest, most fulfilling, peaceful life, doing what I love, surrounded by the people that I love. I knew that starting my business was most definitely a purpose of mine that God has for me and something that is truly aligned with who I am. But I also knew that helping others was going to be another purpose of mine in life. This also aligns with my true self, and this was also confirmed once God led me to this podcast, which I had the idea for in 2022, but in terms of being my truest version of me, that involved a lot of letting go of the past, speaking to myself kinder, and really paying attention to the actions that I take along with learning to love different pieces of myself. Even down to loving something as simple as my sense of humor and laugh and just the things that make me laugh, like just being able to love the joy that you can find through those things. Like, I swear, I can sit alone and watch funny videos or just sit and think of random things that make myself laugh and enjoy my own company. Like, not in any kind of weird way. I just will sit here and make myself laugh, like just thinking of something. And it's just finding the joy in that and loving yourself and how you can enjoy being alone. Like, I don't need to have people around me all the time, and I'm a homebody. Like, I like to be home and alone, but I also enjoy my time with people and family. I value that very, very deeply. But I feel that it's very important to be able to sit alone and enjoy your own company, because if you aren't comfortable doing that, then you're most likely going to seek attention and missing pieces of your life in someone else, which pushes you further away from discovering your true self. And I say that because that was me a couple years ago. And, I was seeking stuff in other people because I don't really think that I could face things alone. I couldn't really sit with myself, and it's something that I really had to work on. And trust and believe that that time alone will really get you thinking about a lot. Not even just anxiety or old traumas and negative things, but thinking about what truly brings you joy in life, down to the simplest thing like hanging out with your pets. It makes you appreciate the little things as well and find gratitude, and allow you time to also reflect on just how far you've come in your journey and, where things started compared to where you are now. During this time, though, other than sitting with yourself, you should really start paying attention to every other aspect of how you operate and who you are. Know yourself. Know your likes, dislikes, your triggers, what makes you happy, the little things that bring you joy, what activities you like doing, what activities you don't like doing. On another side, though, what's your love language? Do you value time alone or time spent with a loved one? How are your friendships? How strong is your relationship to God? There's so many questions that you can ask yourself to start to get to know who you are. Like, there's way more than that. But one thing to take note of is your emotions. And when something is off, this is a big one for me, because when I started paying attention to either a mood shift or feeling in my body or random urges to cry, like anything that made me feel off, I knew that there was something subconsciously bothering me if there wasn't anything that had obviously just happened causing those feelings. They were indicators of, okay, I have some alerts going through my mind and body telling me that I need to pay attention to an unresolved feeling, trauma, or situation internally that is going to start manifesting itself into anxiety symptoms if they haven't already, and if I don't address it now. So I would know, okay, I'm feeling weird, I'm feeling off, I need to slow down, break down my feelings, and work through the symptoms if I already had the anxiety ones showing up. But I'd essentially just go down a list of checking in with myself to see what was going on. And something that really helped me at this time, and even now, are taking a bath. That is a huge thing that I love because it allows you time to relax and calm down and become one with your thoughts. So that's what I would do. I would take a bath and coach myself, talk out loud, and walk myself through each layer of the emotion that I was feeling. Cry if I need to, shoot down the anxiety, obsessive thoughts, and be realistic with myself to help me bring me back down to earth. This also helped me realize what I needed to address in therapy in my next session. But let's say that these emotions popped up throughout the day when I couldn't take time for myself yet. Then I would do some self-soothing and coaching in my mind, telling myself, Autumn, it's okay. You register that you have unresolved feelings or anxiety at this moment that you do need to address later on. But know that at this moment, this is not what's triggering you. You are calm and safe and everything is okay. Like, we are going to be able to work through this, and this is only temporary. This would help me rationalize my anxious thoughts in the moment too, because I could really decipher if the anxiety happening currently was based on a trigger from the environment I was in, like at work, a store, driving, whatever I was doing, or if it was from an old trauma and anxiety pattern trying to make itself known. Sometimes it was a trigger from the current place I was in, which I would then tell myself once again that this is only temporary. Like, I'm allowed to leave the store anytime. I'm not trapped. I can escape, I can leave and I can go home. Or if I was driving, I would tell myself like, hey, like, I'm going to be going home soon, or, I have X amount of time until I get home. And I know that my anxiety will subside once I'm actually home. That once again, this is only happening in this moment, but this is not going to last forever. And it's not even going to last all day as long as we address it. But finally, if I was at work, I would just move around to the meeting rooms in the office, or separate myself from the environment that I was in to try and calm myself down. Being mindful of both your surroundings and current state of being are also crucial to your healing, because being self-aware will reveal when it's time to take breaks and de-stress, or show you that you have some inner work that needs to be done. It's not always about revealing traumas and anxieties, though. It really can just be that you've been going 1,000 miles a minute lately and you need to take time and relax, or take some time for some self-care. Like, that is so important, to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and taking time for yourself to try and, just rejuvenate and relax and be the best, most happiest version of you that is feeling great. So to recap, connect with God, find your passions or hobbies that you enjoy, take time to connect with yourself, get to know yourself, and check in with your emotions. Learn how you operate and when it's time to take breaks. Take note of the anxiety that you're experiencing to see if it relates to the environment that you're in or that current moment in the present, or if it relates to internal past traumas. Work to let go of the past, heal and forgive yourself for the past mistakes, and learn to be comfortable with being alone and enjoying your own company and presence. Just remember that every day truly is an opportunity for you to change yourself for the better and work to improve yourself, and even change how you treat people, or how you present yourself. You can always work and strive to do better, and I feel like really focusing on yourself and really working on falling in love with yourself and being comfortable in your own presence is what is going to skyrocket your growth and really change your life. Like, once you are falling in love with your life, then I feel like you really will be able to easily, let those words from other people bounce off of you like water, and separate yourself from situations that don't make you happy, because you realize that, hey, you know what? This is not in line with my energy, my frequencies. Like, I'm not giving into that. I'm not dealing with that. I want to live my life with intention. And all of those things that I've just listed have personally helped me tremendously in my anxiety healing and self-love journey. And I really do truly hope that these tips and insight can help make a positive difference in your life. And I hope to see you all back here on the next episode, where we will be getting into the personal transition that I went through mentally, waking up and really stepping into self-love and transforming my life to live with intention and purpose at the end of 2022 and entering into 2023, where we're going to get into where I'm at today. And we will discuss changing daily habits, planning, and how to live your life with intention. See you on the next episode. Thank you guys so very much for listening to the end of this podcast episode. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and make sure to check out any previous A Motive Mind podcast episodes that you may have missed before this one. And if you would like to check out the video recordings of this episode and every other Emotive Mind podcast episode, make sure to head on over to YouTube at Emotive Mind Podcast to watch the recordings. And while you're there on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss the new episodes that drop every Tuesday on YouTube and Spotify. You can also get social with me on the Emotive Mind Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify at Emotive Mind Podcast. And I would love for you to check out and support the podcast through my small business, Kello Collective, hand-poured coconut soy candles and products on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And you can shop the candles on kellocollective.com. Well, that's all for today. I will see you guys here next Tuesday, where together we will create a motive mind. See you on the next episode. Bye.